So hello all and welcome to Just I, the Realist Philosopher. So in this video I want to talk a bit about my diet. So I suffer from an autoimmune disorder called celiac. It means essentially I cannot eat gluten, and it went undiagnosed for so long. It's done a lot of damage to my system, and I'm extremely sensitive to gluten, obviously. I can't have that, but I'm also extremely sensitive to foods that are very similar to gluten, have substances in them that are very similar, and because of that I need to be on a carnivore diet. So here's my carnivore diet and what I generally have for breakfast. So here we have what is a staple of my diet: ground beef, baby. I am on a budget carnivore diet. You don't need to spend a lot of money. I buy my ground beef in 10-pound increments, and then I partition it into 1.5-pound bags. So I generally have one of these a day, not always, sometimes a pound, and then I'll have other stuff to fill in the gap. So this is one of the foods I'll have that I really like. Pink salmon. Salmon's great. It's got that great, wonderful omega-3 fatty acids. I'll generally make this with a 4 or 5 egg omelet. So I'll mix half a can of this with 4 or 5 eggs and judicious amounts of salt, and that makes for a yummy meal. So here we have what comprises one of my favorite meals. It's especially good for breakfast, everything your grown boy needs. Here we have a 1/2 pound of ground beef. Here we have 3 eggs. So firstly, we're gonna salt everything up. So if you were on a carnivore diet, you will need a lot of salt, baby. Now I'm going to whip. Now that those eggs are nicely whipped and salt added, all mixed up, now we're going to add the ground beef in small, pretty even-sized chunks to the egg. And there we go. The ground beef has been added in the form of small, evenly sized chunks. Bits. Now time to whip it all together. And there we go, all nice and whipped and evenly mixed. And once that's done, you then add it to a preheated, covered saucepan. And no need for butter, because this ground beef is 27% fat. So you've got plenty of lubrication to make sure it doesn't stick to the pan. And of course, this is a ceramic coated saucepan, so that's not a big issue anyway. And in goes the food. You want to get it evenly spread, so a little bit of shaking, get it nice and even, and then cover it back up. Now every couple minutes I like to move the pan a bit, every minute or so, until it's evenly cooked. Now this stove has no numbered settings, but as you can see, the setting I've put it on is the halfway point. That would roughly match up to a 5 on your stove. Now while that's cooking, let's talk a little about the carnivore diet. Human beings are non-omnivores. We don't need a balanced diet. If you look at every other animal in nature, they have a very specific diet. You don't see lions running around searching out fruits and breads and nuts and berries. They eat meat. And human beings, for the vast majority of our history, until very recently, were meat eaters. Fruit was something that we used to supplement our diets in winter and help us store fat. It's a very easy, readily accessible form of fuel. True, but it's not what we're meant to run on. We're meant to run on ketones. We're meant to burn fat. That's why everybody's getting so fat. Their diets are too high in carbohydrates. Too many processed foods, yes, but too much fructose, too much sugar, too much carbohydrate. And what happens when you have these carbohydrates and this readily accessible fuel in the form of sugar and carbs? Your body's going to store all the fat it takes in. Meanwhile, if you're on a diet that consists almost entirely of fat, like mine, your body has no choice. It's going to burn fat, and that's what it's meant to burn. You should cut out all carbohydrates practically. I have between 25 and 50 grams of carbs a day, ideally as low as 25. Now, my diet is not 100% carnivore. I do enjoy my peanut butter. I like to have a serving of that, which is 2 tablespoons a day. I do like my 100% cacao chocolate, which is 0 sugar, very low in carbs. It's very bitter, but I like it. We each have our own weird tastes. But those are 2 very small exceptions. The vast majority of my diet is meat and fat. Okay, let's get back to the meal. This is my favorite meal and how it'll look when it's done cooking. And time to flip it. Okay, so when it gets near to being done, it's going to look something like this. Little light yellowish brown on the top. The yellow is the fat, the brown is the meat. Not fairly well cooked, but getting cooked some now on the top, which tells you that the bottom is fully cooked and she needs to be flipped. And now she's been flipped and had to do it in 3 parts, middle, and then left, then right. There is a little sticking, even though there's plenty of fat, and it is a ceramic base. So give that a couple more minutes, and then ready to serve. Okay, time to prepare it. So what I like to do is take my spatula, and I like to use it to chop, chop, chop. I'll go crosswise, and then crosswise other direction to chop everything up into nice little chunks, pieces. You get the idea. And there we go, the final result. And then you simply salt to taste, meaning add salt. If it doesn't taste salty enough, that is the best way to tell whether or not you're getting enough salt. Does it taste salty enough, or is it too salty? Getting the right amount of salt is all about trusting your taste buds. And there you go, ready to serve. And this is my go-to daily breakfast. 1/2 pound of ground beef, 27% fat, 73% meat, and 3 eggs. Combinatively, 4 ounces of this ground beef is 350 calories, 3 eggs, 210 calories. So this is 900 calories, give or take. All that a growing boy needs. And it may not look all that appetizing, but it's actually very, very tasty. Give it a try. I think you'll like. Now, the carnivore diet is for everyone. It is. Everyone is a carnivore. We are not omnivores. Vegetarian diet is bad and evil. Plants don't want you to eat them. So they have lots of toxins, poisons in them. Lots of things that are inflammatory and not good for you. But meat is the most nutrient-dense food on the friggin' planet. The only problem with the carnivore diet is that it does leave you lacking in electrolytes. So if you're going to go carnivore, which you absolutely should, you're going to need to get yourself something like this. Yes, microingredients.com. It is an electrolyte drink. It makes the electrolytes readily available. It gives you all growing boy needs in the form of potassium and chloride and magnesium and vitamin C. The only thing it doesn't have in it in spades is calcium and zinc. So you need to get yourself a calcium and a zinc supplement. Magnesium is difficult to absorb in the form of pill supplements. This easily absorbed form. Same goes for potassium. So I drink 3 or 4 glasses of this a day. There's like 200 servings in this bag, so it lasts quite a long time. It's not that expensive. Take a calcium supplement and a zinc supplement once a day, and I am good to go. And you will find that if you go on a carnivore diet, you're going to have more energy, be more clear-headed, say goodbye to the brain fog. And no, it does not limit your ability to exercise in any way. Once your body adapts to a fat diet and burning fat as energy, you are going to find that you're more efficient, more energized, more clear-headed, and that you'll feel better than you've ever felt before. Not to mention the fact that your testosterone levels are going to go way up as a man. Because meat, fat, what does it encourage? What does it help benefit? What does it contribute to? Testosterone production, baby. Anyway, that's all I have to say about my breakfast. If you have any questions, comments about carnivore diet, you want to know more, I have done lots and lots of research as somebody who is recently diagnosed as someone with an autoimmune disease. So leave your questions, leave your comments. I will endeavor to answer them. I am the Realist Philosopher, and this is my carnivore diet breakfast. And I wish you all a good and pleasant day. Take care.